Dear listener, hello and welcome. Tonight, we're going to spend some quiet time exploring one of the most familiar and comforting sounds in the animal world, the soft, steady vibration of a cat's purr. It is a sound many people associate with warmth, companionship, and peaceful evenings. Yet behind that gentle rumble lies a fascinating mix of anatomy, behavior, and quiet biological mystery. As we move slowly through these ideas together, we'll explore how and why cats produce this sound, what it may mean in different situations, and how something so small can reveal so much about the hidden lives of terma, animals who share our homes. So settle in, relax, and let's begin with some of the most remarkable and intriguing things scientists have discovered about the quiet language of purring. A cat's purr is a low-frequency sound that can continue smoothly through both inhalation and exhalation. Unlike many other animal vocalizations, it does not require the mouth to open and close in noticeable bursts. Instead, the sound is generated as a continuous vibration, creating the familiar, steady rhythm that many people recognize instantly. Because the vibration flows through the entire breathing cycle, the purr feels more like a gentle mechanical hum than a typical vocal call. This continuous quality is one of the reasons the sound feels so stable and soothing to the human ear, especially when heard during quiet moments of rest. For many years, scientists believed purring worked mainly through rhythmic signals sent from the brain to the muscles of the larynx. According to that earlier explanation, these signals repeatedly activated the muscles surrounding the vocal folds, producing a regular vibration. More recent research suggests the mechanism may be more complex than that simple model. Studies of cat larynges have shown that the physical structure of the voice box itself can produce purring-like frequencies even without direct neural control, indicating that anatomy plays a much larger role than previously thought. One important discovery is that domestic cats possess unusual connective tissue pads embedded within their vocal folds. These structures appear to help the tissues vibrate at very low frequencies that would normally be difficult for a small animal to produce. Because small mammals typically generate higher-pitched sounds, the presence of these specialized tissue masses helps explain how a relatively small creature can create the deep, rolling vibration that people associate with purring. Although purring is commonly associated with happiness, it does not occur only in pleasant situations. Cats may also purr when they are frightened, injured, recovering from illness, or experiencing discomfort. For that reason, purring is better understood as a flexible signal rather than a simple emotional indicator. The meaning of the sound depends heavily on the surrounding situation and on the cat's body language, posture, and behavior. One of the earliest times purring appears in a cat's life is during kittenhood. Very young kittens are capable of producing purring sounds when they are only a few days old, long before many other behaviors have fully developed. This early appearance suggests that purring plays an important role in survival and early social contact. During nursing, the vibration may help maintain communication between mother and kitten while the young animals are still blind or only beginning to explore their environment. Kittens often purr while nursing and pause only briefly to swallow. Because nursing is repeated many times each day, purring becomes tied very early to one of the most important experiences in early life. That connection between feeding, warmth, and physical contact may help explain why adult cats continue to purr in situations associated with comfort and security. Other cats also produce purring sounds while caring for their kittens. In that context, the sound appears to function partly as a contact signal that reassures the young animals. Because kittens are born relatively undeveloped and rely heavily on touch and sound, the mother's purr may quietly signal that she is nearby and that the environment remains calm. Adult cats frequently purr during relaxed social contact, This can happen when they lie beside a trusted person, receive gentle petting, or settle down after a meal. In these situations, the purr forms part of a broader physical state of calmness. Cats often display relaxed muscles, soft eyes, and slow movements at the same time. Purring is also used as a greeting behavior. Many cats begin purring when they approach familiar humans or other cats in friendly situations. Unlike defensive sounds such as growling or hissing, the greeting purr appears to reinforce peaceful relationships and maintain close social contact. Cats sometimes purr during social grooming interactions with other cats, a behavior known as allogrooming. During these moments, the animals lick each other's fur in a cooperative and relaxed way. The purr fits naturally within this gentle interaction, reinforcing the calm and friendly nature of the activity. Researchers have identified a special type of purring, sometimes called the solicitation purr. Cats often use this version when they are asking humans for something, especially food. This sound is not simply a louder version of ordinary purring. Instead, it contains an additional higher-pitched element that humans perceive as more urgent and difficult to ignore. The solicitation purr combines the comforting vibration of a normal purr with a sound quality that resembles a quiet cry. This mixture seems especially effective at attracting human attention. Studies have shown that people often interpret these purrs as more urgent than regular purring, even though the basic sound still contains the familiar low rumbling tone. Because of this flexibility, purring cannot be explained by a single purpose. A purr produced during cuddling and one used to request food may sound similar, but serve very different functions. This adaptability is one reason scientists have found it difficult to describe purring with one simple theory. Many descriptions place the main frequency range of a cat's purr between about 25 and 150 Hz. Domestic cats often fall toward the lower end of this range. These frequencies are very low compared with many other animal sounds, which contributes to the distinctive vibration-like quality of the purr. Some measurements suggest that domestic cats commonly purr around 25 to 30 Hz. For a small mammal vocalization, this is remarkably low. Because the vibration sits in such a deep frequency band, humans often feel the purr through their hands or bodies when holding a cat, rather than hearing it as a sharp sound. One explanation for purring during injury or stress is that it may function as a self-soothing behavior. Repetitive, low-frequency vibrations may help stabilize the animal during difficult situations. This does not necessarily mean the cat is comfortable. Instead, the purr may form part of the animal's way of coping with pain, fear, or uncertainty. Veterinarians frequently caution that purring alone should not be interpreted as a sign of well-being during medical examinations. A cat may purr even when experiencing anxiety or discomfort. For that reason, professionals look carefully at the entire body posture of the cat when assessing its condition. Interestingly, purring can sometimes make veterinary examinations more difficult. The strong vibration created by the sound can interfere with the use of a stethoscope. Because the vibration travels through the chest cavity, it may mask the normal sounds of the heart or lungs during examination. Some observations suggest that older or ill cats may purr more frequently when handled by veterinarians. This pattern supports the idea that purring may help animals cope with stress. Rather than reflecting happiness, the sound in those situations may represent a form of internal regulation. One of the most widely discussed ideas about purring involves possible healing effects. Researchers have noted that the frequency range of purring overlaps with frequencies associated with tissue stimulation in some medical studies. Although this idea is still being studied, it has attracted attention as a possible explanation for why cats sometimes purr during injury. The healing hypothesis suggests that low-frequency vibration might help support bone maintenance and tissue recovery. Cats spend many hours resting, and such vibrations could theoretically provide subtle mechanical stimulation. If true, purring could help maintain muscles and bones during long periods of inactivity. The same low-frequency vibrations may also influence soft tissues, such as tendons and muscles. Mechanical stimulation can affect circulation and cellular activity. While this does not prove that purring heals injuries, it helps explain why scientists continue to investigate the behavior from a physiological perspective. Cats often recover from falls and injuries more quickly than people expect from animals of their size. This resilience has encouraged researchers to consider whether purring could play a small role in recovery. The theory is not that purring replaces normal healing processes, but that it might complement them through repeated vibration. Purring may also influence breathing patterns. Because it is closely tied to respiration, the vibration can help stabilize the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. Steady breathing patterns are commonly associated with relaxation in mammals, which may help explain the calming effect many people feel when hearing a cat purr. Another possibility is that purring influences how pain signals are processed. Repetitive vibration may alter sensory perception within the nervous system. This could help explain why cats sometimes purr during painful experiences, rather than remaining completely silent. The vibration produced by a purr can also be felt by other animals nearby. When a cat rests close to another cat or to a person, the gentle rumble can travel through physical contact. This tactile communication may strengthen social bonds between animals and their companions. Humans often interpret purring as comforting because the sound is soft, rhythmic, and predictable. These qualities resemble other calming patterns found in nature. As a result, the sound has become strongly associated with relaxation and companionship. Researchers have even compared purring to gentle humming. Both involve low-frequency vibrations created through steady airflow and relaxed vocal tissues. In humans, humming can sometimes promote calm breathing and relaxation, which makes the comparison especially interesting. Cats frequently purr while kneading soft surfaces with their paws. Kneading begins in kittenhood during nursing and often continues into adulthood. The combination of kneading and purring may reflect deep developmental connections between feeding, comfort, and security. A purring cat often shows relaxed facial expressions, including slow blinking. Cats use slow blinking as a peaceful communication signal. When slow blinking occurs together with purring, it usually indicates a calm and trusting state. Some cats purr when approaching their owners after being apart. In these moments, the sound may function as a greeting signal. The quiet rumble reinforces the connection between the cat and the person it trusts. Cats may also purr when anticipating food rather than after eating it. The sound sometimes begins when the cat sees food preparation starting. This shows that purring can serve as a request rather than only a response to satisfaction. The special food request purr contains an additional high-frequency component. Humans often perceive this added element as more urgent. Because people are particularly sensitive to sounds resembling infant cries, the solicitation purr may be especially effective at capturing human attention. The long history of coexistence between cats and humans may have shaped the way cats use purring in domestic life. Over thousands of years, cats may have adapted some vocal behaviors to interact effectively with people. Purring may therefore represent both an ancient feline trait and a behavior refined during domestication. Purring is not limited to the domestic cat alone. A number of smaller wild members of the cat family are also capable of producing similar low-frequency vibrations. Species such as cheetahs, servals, and ocelots share anatomical traits that allow them to create purring sounds. Because these animals live in very different environments from domestic cats, Their ability to purr suggests that the behavior developed early in feline evolution. It appears to be an ancient communication and regulation system rather than a behavior created only through life with humans. In contrast, some larger cats, such as lions and tigers, do not produce the same continuous purring sound. Their vocal anatomy is specialized in a different direction, allowing them to roar loudly across long distances. This difference arises from structural variations in the larynx and the hyoid bone, a small structure that supports the tongue and throat. These anatomical differences shape which vocal abilities each species develops. The study of purring often leads researchers into the broader question of how sound is produced in mammals. In many animals, vocal sounds occur mainly during exhalation, when air flows outward through the vocal folds. Cats are unusual because their purring vibration can continue through both inhalation and exhalation. This continuous airflow interaction allows the sound to maintain its steady, uninterrupted rhythm. Because the vibration does not stop when the cat inhales, the purr forms a seamless cycle that can last for extended periods. The sound can continue for minutes or even longer when the cat remains relaxed. This uninterrupted quality contributes to the soothing effect that humans often notice when a cat rests quietly nearby. The structure of the larynx plays a central role in producing the purr. Inside the voice box are two flexible tissues called vocal folds that vibrate as air moves across them. When the cat breathes, airflow interacts with these tissues and creates the characteristic low-frequency vibration that defines purring. Earlier scientific explanations proposed that the brain controlled purring by sending rhythmic signals to the muscles surrounding the vocal folds. According to that model, the muscles would rapidly open and close the folds to create repeated pulses of sound. These pulses would blend together to form the familiar rumbling vibration people hear as a purr. However, newer experiments have complicated that picture. In some laboratory studies, isolated cat larynges were capable of producing purring-like vibrations even when the nerves controlling the muscles were inactive. This suggests that the structure of the larynx itself may naturally favor the production of these low frequencies. Researchers later discovered unusual connective tissue pads embedded within the vocal folds of domestic cats. These structures appear to influence how the tissue vibrates when air flows through the throat. The presence of these pads may help the vocal folds oscillate at very low frequencies that would otherwise be difficult for such a small animal to produce. Because of this anatomical adaptation, cats can generate a deep rolling vibration that feels larger than the animal itself. The sound spreads through the chest cavity and surrounding tissues. This physical resonance helps amplify the vibration slightly without requiring the cat to produce a loud vocal call. In scientific terms, purring belongs to a category of sounds known as voiced vocalizations. These sounds occur when air passing through the vocal tract causes tissues to oscillate rhythmically. Unlike louder sounds such as yowls or growls, purring requires relatively low airflow pressure and smaller vibration amplitudes. As a result, the sound remains soft and intimate rather than projecting across long distances. This quality makes purring especially suited to close-range communication. Most of the time, the sound is heard only by animals or people who are physically nearby. Many studies describe the frequency range of purring as lying roughly between 25 and 150 Hz. Individual cats may vary within this range. The lower end of that spectrum overlaps with frequencies often associated with mechanical vibration rather than typical vocal sound. Because these frequencies are so low, they travel effectively through soft tissues and nearby surfaces. This is why people often feel a cat's purr as a vibration in their hands or chest. The tactile sensation can be just as noticeable as the sound itself. Within the broader purr range, domestic cats frequently produce vibrations around 25 to 30 Hz. For a small mammal vocalization, This is unusually deep. These extremely low frequencies resemble a vocal pattern known in humans as vocal fry, where the vocal folds vibrate slowly and irregularly. From a physical perspective, the chest cavity of the cat acts as a resonating chamber during purring. Vibrations generated in the throat spread through the rib cage and surrounding tissues. This internal resonance allows the vibration to travel throughout the body. Because the vibration spreads through bone and muscle, it can also be detected by touch when someone holds a purring cat. The body of the animal effectively becomes part of the sound-producing system. This physical component adds to the unique sensory experience of purring. Researchers have also suggested that purring may serve as a subtle contact signal between animals. In natural environments, animals that live close together often use quiet signals to confirm that companions are nearby. A low-frequency vibration like purring allows communication without attracting unwanted attention from predators. Because the sound does not travel far, it is most useful in close social situations. Examples include nursing, grooming, resting together, or interacting with trusted humans. In these contexts, the purr helps maintain a calm, cooperative atmosphere. Domestic cats frequently purr while resting in safe locations. In many homes, the sound appears when the animal is sleeping or lying comfortably. These moments of relaxation have contributed to the widespread belief that purring always signals happiness. However, scientists emphasize that purring is more complicated than that. The same sound can appear in both positive and negative situations. Understanding the meaning of a purr requires observing the cat's body posture, facial expression, and behavior at the same time. Veterinarians often observe purring during medical examinations. Even cats that are frightened or uncomfortable may produce the vibration while being handled. Behavior specialists interpret this as a possible coping behavior that helps the animal regulate stress. Because of this, purring alone cannot be used to determine whether a cat is feeling well. A cat that appears tense or withdrawn may still purr. Professionals therefore look carefully at body language such as ear position, muscle tension, and eye expression. Interestingly, the strong vibration produced by purring can sometimes interfere with veterinary tools. When the stethoscope is placed against a cat's chest, the vibration may mask the sounds of the heart or lungs. This practical complication has even been studied in veterinary medicine. Some studies have noted that older or ill cats may purr more frequently during examinations. This observation supports the idea that purring can increase during situations involving vulnerability or stress. In these contexts, the purr may represent internal regulation rather than comfort. Researchers have also investigated whether purring might play a role in physical healing. The low-frequency vibrations of the purr overlap with frequencies used in certain medical vibration therapies. These therapies have sometimes been associated with improved bone growth and tissue repair. Because cats spend many hours resting, a built-in vibration system could theoretically help maintain bone strength during periods of inactivity. This idea forms the basis of the healing purr hypothesis. Although still being studied, it remains one of the most intriguing explanations for purring during injury. Mechanical vibration has been shown in other contexts to influence bone cell activity. Cells that build bone tissue respond to physical stimulation. If purring creates repeated vibrations through the skeleton, it might contribute small, supportive effects over time. Some researchers have also suggested that purring vibrations could affect soft tissues such as muscles and tendons. Mechanical stimulation can influence circulation and tissue repair. The rhythmic nature of purring may therefore interact with several biological systems at once. Another possible effect involves breathing regulation. Because purring is closely linked to respiration, it may help stabilize the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. Stable breathing patterns are often associated with relaxation and reduced stress. Scientists have also considered the possibility that purring influences how animals experience pain. Repetitive vibration may alter how nerve signals related to pain are processed. This could help explain why cats sometimes purr while injured rather than remaining silent. The tactile vibration of purring may also calm nearby animals. When two cats rest close together, the vibration can be felt through shared contact. This subtle sensory signal may reinforce social bonding between companions. Humans often find purring comforting because of its predictable rhythm. The sound resembles other gentle patterns found in nature, such as soft wind or distant water movement. As a result, the purr has become closely associated with feelings of peace and relaxation. Some scientists compare purring to humming in humans. Both involve low-frequency vibrations created by relaxed airflow and vibrating tissues. In humans, humming can sometimes encourage steady breathing and calm emotional states. Cats frequently purr while kneading soft surfaces with their paws. Kneading movements alternate rhythmically as the cat presses one paw and then the other. This behavior originates in kittenhood when young cats knead their mother during nursing. The combination of kneading and purring may therefore reflect deep developmental memories of warmth, feeding, and safety. Many adult cats continue this behavior when resting on blankets, beds, or a person's lap. A purring cat often shows other relaxed signals as well. The eyes may close partially, and the cat may blink slowly. Slow blinking is considered a peaceful communication gesture among cats. When a cat purrs while blinking slowly, the animal is usually experiencing a low-threat social environment. These visual signals help other animals interpret the emotional context of the sound. Some cats begin purring when approaching their owners after time apart. The sound functions almost like a quiet greeting. This greeting purr reinforces familiarity and social connection between the animal and the human. Cats may also purr while waiting for food. In these cases, the sound appears before the reward arrives rather than afterward. This demonstrates that purring can be used to request resources as well as to express satisfaction. Long before cats lived beside humans, their ancestors were already developing the vocal behaviors that would later include purring. Early members of the cat family evolved as small, stealthy predators that depended on quiet movement and subtle communication. In those early environments, loud vocal calls could attract attention from larger predators or alert prey animals. Quiet signals such as purring would have allowed close communication without revealing the animal's position. Fossil evidence suggests that the earliest felids appeared roughly 25 million years ago. These early cats were small carnivores that gradually diversified into many branches of the cat family. Over time, different evolutionary paths produced the wide variety of cats seen today, from tiny domestic companions to the powerful large cats that roam open landscapes. One of the key evolutionary divisions within the cat family separates the so-called purring cats from the roaring cats. This distinction reflects differences in the anatomy of the throat and voice box. Species capable of roaring possess a more flexible hyoid bone structure, which supports the powerful vocalizations used by animals like lions and tigers. Cats that purr belong to a different evolutionary branch. In these species, the hyoid bone is more rigid, providing support for a stable laryngeal structure. This rigidity helps maintain the mechanical conditions that allow the low-frequency vibration of purring. Domestic cats are part of a group known as the small cats, or Feline. This group includes animals such as the cheetah, lynx, serval, and ocelot. Most members of this branch retain the ability to purr throughout their lives. The ancestors of modern domestic cats are believed to have lived in the Middle East and surrounding regions thousands of years ago. these wild cats gradually formed relationships with human settlements. Rodents attracted to stored grain created an environment where small predators could thrive. Wild cats that tolerated human presence had easier access to food sources. Over many generations, this tolerance allowed a loose partnership to develop between humans and cats. The process of domestication did not dramatically alter the cat's basic anatomy or behavior. Unlike dogs, which experienced strong selective breeding by humans, cats largely domesticated themselves. Individuals that were comfortable around people reproduced successfully near human settlements. Because of this, many natural feline behaviors, including purring, remained largely unchanged. Early agricultural societies likely encountered cats frequently around food storage areas. These animals helped control rodent populations that threatened grain supplies. As a result, humans gradually began to accept cats as useful companions. Over centuries, this relationship strengthened. Cats moved from barns and storage buildings into homes and living spaces. Within these environments, behaviors such as purring became closely associated with peaceful domestic life. Although purring existed long before domestication, the sound gained new social meanings when cats began living with people. Humans quickly learned to interpret the vibration as a sign of calm interaction. Because purring occurs at close distances, it suited the intimate environments of human homes. Unlike loud calls, the soft vibration fits comfortably within quiet indoor spaces. This characteristic helped reinforce the association between purring and companionship. Historical records from ancient civilizations show that cats were highly valued in several cultures. In ancient Egypt, cats were respected both for their hunting ability and for their role within households. Artwork from that period often depicts cats sitting calmly beside humans. Although these images cannot record sound, the relaxed posture of the cats suggests that behaviors such as purring may have accompanied these quiet domestic scenes. Over time, cats spread across the world through trade and migration. As cats traveled with sailors and merchants, they carried their natural behaviors, including purring, into new environments and cultures. Despite the wide geographic spread of domestic cats, the basic structure of the purr remained consistent. Cats in different parts of the world produce very similar vibrations. This consistency reflects the deep evolutionary roots of the behavior. The stability of purring across species and environments suggests that the mechanism evolved early and proved useful for survival. Behaviors that persist across millions of years often provide some biological advantage. Scientists believe purring likely served multiple roles throughout feline evolution. These roles may have included communication between mothers and kittens, social bonding between animals, and self-regulation during stress. Young kittens depend heavily on physical contact and sound to remain connected with their mother. Because newborn kittens are blind and have limited mobility, quiet signals become especially important. Purring may have evolved partly as a way to maintain contact during these early stages of life. The vibration of a purr can travel through the body of the mother cat and into the nest environment. This subtle signal allows kittens to sense her presence even when visual cues are unavailable. The evolutionary importance of this early communication may explain why kittens begin purring so soon after birth. Behaviors that appear early in development often play essential roles in survival. As cats matured, purring may have expanded beyond the mother-kitten relationship into broader social contexts. Adult cats that live together sometimes purr during grooming or resting interactions. These social purrs may reinforce peaceful relationships between individuals. In species that occasionally live in small groups, subtle signals that reduce conflict can be extremely valuable. Over evolutionary time, animals that communicated calmly may have experienced fewer aggressive encounters. Purring may therefore represent one of several signals that help maintain social harmony. Although cats are often described as solitary animals, they are capable of forming stable relationships with both humans and other animals. The flexibility of purring may have helped facilitate these relationships. The evolutionary history of purring also reflects changes in feline anatomy. Over millions of years, the vocal structures of cats adapted to produce efficient low-frequency vibrations. These adaptations involve the shape and flexibility of tissues within the larynx. Because the purr is created through repeated airflow interactions, the structure of the vocal folds had to evolve to support stable oscillations. Specialized connective tissues help maintain the mechanical properties needed for this vibration. The presence of these tissues in multiple small cat species suggests that the adaptation arose early in the feline lineage. Once established, the mechanism likely remained stable across many species. The persistence of purring across millions of years indicates that it provided advantages that outweighed any energetic cost. Producing a purr requires little energy compared with louder vocal calls. This efficiency makes purring an economical signal for close-range communication. Unlike territorial calls that must travel long distances, the purr is designed for nearby listeners. Evolution tends to favor communication signals that match the social and environmental needs of a species. For small predators that rely on stealth, quiet signals are particularly useful. Purring fits this requirement perfectly by allowing communication without drawing attention. This evolutionary context helps explain why the purr remains relatively soft, even when produced continuously. Although domestic cats now live in comfortable homes, the behavior they inherited developed in a world where subtlety was essential. Many feline behaviors still reflect that ancient environment. Even today, a purring cat resting quietly beside a person is expressing a behavior shaped by millions of years of evolutionary history. The gentle vibration heard in modern homes, therefore, carries echoes of a much older biological story. Understanding this history helps explain why the sound feels so natural and familiar. It is not simply a domestic habit, but a deeply rooted trait within the cat family. Inside a cat's throat sits a small but remarkably complex structure known as the larynx, often called the voice box. This organ is responsible for producing nearly all of the vocal sounds a cat can make, including meows, growls, hisses, and the distinctive rumbling vibration of purring. The larynx is located at the top of the trachea and contains flexible tissues known as vocal folds. These folds respond to airflow moving through the airway and can vibrate in different ways depending on how the surrounding muscles and tissues interact with the breath. When a cat begins to purr, air moves rhythmically through the larynx as the animal breathes. As the air passes across the vocal folds, it causes the tissues to vibrate at a steady, low frequency. This vibration produces the familiar rolling sound of the purr, which is then carried through the throat and into the surrounding body tissues. Unlike louder vocalizations that require strong bursts of air, purring uses relatively gentle airflow. The cat does not need to forcefully push air out of its lungs to maintain the vibration. Because of this, the purr can continue effortlessly for long periods while the cat remains relaxed. One unusual feature of purring is that it occurs during both phases of breathing. Most animal vocalizations appear only during exhalation, when air moves outward from the lungs. Cats, however, can maintain the purring vibration while inhaling as well, creating a continuous sound that does not pause between breaths. This seamless airflow cycle allows the purr to remain steady and uninterrupted. Instead of starting and stopping with each breath, the vibration simply changes direction as air moves in and out. The result is a smooth, flowing sound that can last for minutes at a time. Within the larynx, the vocal folds are supported by small cartilages that help regulate their position and tension. These cartilages act like a framework that guides how the tissues vibrate. By adjusting tension and airflow, the cat can subtly alter the strength and tone of the purr. Recent anatomical research has revealed that domestic cats possess specialized connective tissue pads within their vocal folds. These structures appear to play an important role in producing the deep frequencies characteristic of purring. Without these pads, the tissues might not vibrate efficiently at such low frequencies. The connective tissue pads add mass and flexibility to the vocal folds. When airflow passes through the larynx, these tissues oscillate in a stable pattern that naturally produces the purring vibration. This mechanical process may occur with minimal muscular effort once the vibration begins. Because the purr relies partly on the natural mechanical properties of the larynx, the cat does not need to consciously control each vibration cycle. Instead, the airflow and tissue structure work together to sustain the oscillation automatically. This mechanical efficiency helps explain why cats can purr for long periods while resting or sleeping. The system requires little energy to maintain once the airflow pattern stabilizes. In effect, the cat's vocal anatomy acts like a natural vibration generator. The sound produced in the larynx does not remain confined to the throat. Vibrations travel through the cat's chest cavity and into surrounding muscles and bones. This spreading vibration gives the purr its characteristic resonance. Because the vibration moves through the entire body, people holding a cat can often feel the purr through their hands or chest. The tactile sensation can sometimes be stronger than the audible sound itself. The cat's rib cage also plays a role in amplifying the purr. As the vibration spreads through the chest, the rib cage acts as a resonating chamber that enhances the depth of the sound. This resonance helps produce the rich, rumbling tone associated with purring. Another important structural element is the trachea, the airway connecting the larynx to the lungs. The trachea serves as the pathway through which airflow travels during breathing. Stable airflow through this passage is essential for maintaining the continuous vibration required for purring. The lungs themselves provide the air pressure needed to sustain the purr. Gentle contractions of the diaphragm control the movement of air into and out of the lungs. These breathing movements determine the airflow that drives the vibration in the larynx. When the cat is calm and relaxed, breathing tends to become slow and steady. This stable airflow supports the consistent oscillation of the vocal folds. As a result, purring often accompanies relaxed states of rest. If the cat becomes startled or excited, breathing patterns change rapidly. In those moments, the airflow may no longer support the vibration pattern needed for purring. This is one reason why purring usually stops during sudden bursts of activity. The muscles surrounding the larynx still play a role even if the vibration is largely mechanical. These muscles help position the vocal folds and adjust tension within the tissue. Small adjustments in tension can change the character of the purr slightly. Although the basic purr remains relatively stable, individual cats may produce slightly different tones. Differences in body size, vocal fold structure, and breathing patterns can influence the sound. Some cats produce deeper, more resonant purrs, while others create lighter or softer vibrations. These variations arise naturally from anatomical differences rather than intentional vocal control. Researchers sometimes analyze purring using sound recording equipment that measures frequency and amplitude. These measurements help scientists understand how the vibration behaves over time. Such studies have shown that purring often contains multiple overlapping frequencies rather than a single pure tone. This complex vibration pattern contributes to the rich, layered sound people hear. The vibration also fluctuates slightly with each breath cycle. Even though the sound appears continuous, small variations occur as air changes direction. These subtle changes help maintain the dynamic quality of the purr. The environment surrounding the cat can influence how the purr sounds to human ears. Soft materials such as blankets or clothing can absorb some of the vibration. Hard surfaces, on the other hand, may reflect and slightly amplify the sound. When a cat lies against a person, the human body itself can transmit the vibration. In these situations, the purr may feel stronger because the vibration travels directly through physical contact. The ability of purring vibrations to move through surfaces is partly due to their low frequency. Low-frequency vibrations travel efficiently through solid materials. This property allows the purr to be felt through objects such as furniture or bedding. Because of these physical properties, purring is both an acoustic and a tactile phenomenon. People often experience it through hearing and touch simultaneously. From a biological perspective, the purring system represents a remarkable integration of breathing, vocal anatomy, and mechanical vibration. Each component of the system contributes to the stability of the sound. Airflow from the lungs drives the vibration. The larynx shapes the oscillation. The body tissues transmit and resonate the resulting sound. Together, these structures create the gentle, continuous vibration that has become one of the most recognizable sounds produced by domestic animals. When a cat begins to purr, the process involves a coordinated interaction between breathing, airflow, and the delicate structures of the throat. Air moves steadily from the lungs through the trachea and across the vocal folds in the larynx. As this airflow passes through the voice box, it interacts with flexible tissues that naturally vibrate at low frequencies. This vibration forms the foundation of the purring sound. The muscles surrounding the larynx help maintain the correct tension in the vocal folds. Although the vibration itself may occur mechanically, these muscles still adjust the position and tightness of the tissues. These adjustments allow the cat to sustain the vibration smoothly while breathing in and out. Breathing patterns play an important role in maintaining the purr. A calm, steady breathing rhythm provides a consistent flow of air through the larynx. This stable airflow allows the vocal folds to oscillate continuously, without interruption. If breathing becomes irregular, the vibration may weaken or stop. Sudden movements, excitement, or stress can disrupt the airflow pattern needed to sustain purring. This is why the sound often fades when a cat becomes alert or active. The nervous system still contributes to the process by coordinating breathing and muscle activity. Signals from the brain regulate the muscles that control the larynx and diaphragm. These signals help maintain the gentle rhythm of respiration that supports the purr. Although early scientific theories suggested that purring depended entirely on rhythmic nerve impulses, newer studies indicate that the larynx itself plays a major role. The specialized tissues within the vocal folds allow the vibration to occur with minimal neural control once airflow begins. In effect, the cat's vocal system behaves partly like a self-sustaining oscillator. Airflow provides the energy that keeps the tissues vibrating. This allows the purr to continue for extended periods without requiring intense muscular effort. The interaction between airflow and tissue structure creates a stable feedback loop. As air moves across the vocal folds, the folds vibrate and shape the airflow in return. This feedback process helps maintain the steady rhythm characteristic of purring. Because the purr relies on airflow rather than strong vocal muscle contractions, the cat can maintain the sound while resting. Even when the animal appears almost motionless, subtle breathing movements continue to power the vibration. The diaphragm, the main muscle responsible for breathing, moves rhythmically during both inhalation and exhalation. These movements draw air into the lungs and then release it again. This cycle of airflow drives the oscillation in the larynx. During inhalation, air moves inward through the vocal folds and the tissues vibrate in response. During exhalation, the airflow reverses direction but continues to interact with the same tissues. This bidirectional vibration allows the purr to remain continuous. Within the larynx, the connective tissue pads embedded in the vocal folds contribute to the mechanical properties of the system. These pads add mass and flexibility to the tissues, making it easier for them to oscillate at low frequencies. The resulting vibration typically falls within a frequency range between about 25 and 150 Hz. Domestic cats often produce purrs near the lower end of this spectrum. These low frequencies create the deep, rumbling quality that distinguishes purring from higher-pitched vocal sounds. Low-frequency vibrations also travel efficiently through soft tissues and nearby surfaces. As the purr spreads through the cat's body, it resonates within the chest cavity and surrounding muscles. This resonance slightly amplifies the vibration without requiring louder vocal output. The cat's body effectively becomes part of the sound-producing system. Because the vibration spreads through bone and muscle, it can be detected through touch. People holding a purring cat often feel the vibration through their hands or chest. This tactile experience contributes to the comforting sensation many people associate with purring. The rhythmic nature of purring also interacts with the cat's overall physiological state. When a cat is relaxed, heart rate and breathing rate tend to stabilize. Stable physiological rhythms make it easier to sustain the airflow pattern needed for purring. In situations involving stress or injury, purring may function as a regulatory mechanism. The repetitive vibration may help stabilize breathing and maintain calmness. This potential role in self-regulation has attracted considerable scientific interest. Researchers studying animal behavior often observe that purring appears during both pleasant and stressful situations. This dual occurrence suggests that the mechanism may serve multiple purposes. For example, a cat might purr while resting peacefully beside its owner. The same sound might also appear when the cat is recovering from a minor injury. In both cases, the vibration may help regulate internal physiological processes. Another possible function involves communication with nearby animals. Because purring is quiet and low frequency, it works best at close range. Cats resting together can detect the vibration through both hearing and touch. This shared sensory signal may reinforce social bonds between animals. The vibration may also influence the perception of pain within the nervous system. Some researchers propose that repetitive low-frequency stimulation can affect how pain signals are processed. Although this theory is still being investigated, it provides one possible explanation for purring during injury. The mechanical vibration produced by purring may also affect tissues within the body. Mechanical stimulation can influence circulation and cellular activity in muscles and connective tissue. These interactions might support the body's natural repair processes. Because cats spend many hours resting each day, a built-in vibration system could provide subtle physical stimulation even during inactivity. This idea forms part of the broader healing purr hypothesis. While the evidence is still being explored, the concept highlights the remarkable complexity of the purring mechanism. Rather than serving a single purpose, the vibration may influence multiple biological systems at once. The sound can communicate information to nearby animals, regulate breathing, and possibly affect tissue activity. From a scientific perspective, purring represents a sophisticated interaction between anatomy, physiology, and behavior. The system depends on airflow from the lungs, the structure of the larynx, and the coordination of breathing muscles. Each element contributes to the stability of the vibration. Together, these components form a finely balanced mechanism capable of producing one of the most recognizable sounds in the animal world. Deep within the tissues of a cat's throat, the structures responsible for purring operate on a scale far smaller than what we can easily see. The vocal folds that vibrate during purring are composed of layers of elastic fibers, connective tissue, and specialized cells. These microscopic structures give the vocal folds the flexibility needed to oscillate rapidly when air flows across them. The interaction between airflow and tissue elasticity produces the vibration that becomes the purr. At the cellular level, the connective tissues within the vocal folds contain proteins such as collagen and elastin. These proteins determine how the tissue stretches and rebounds during vibration. Collagen provides structural strength, while elastin allows the tissue to return to its original shape after being stretched. This combination of strength and elasticity is essential for sustaining repeated oscillations. Without these microscopic properties, the vocal folds would not be able to vibrate smoothly during breathing. The delicate balance between these fibers allows the tissue to move thousands of times during a single purring session. When airflow passes through the larynx, pressure differences form on either side of the vocal folds. These pressure changes help pull the folds together and then push them apart in rapid cycles. This alternating motion creates the oscillating vibration that produces sound. At the microscopic scale, the surface of the vocal folds is coated with a thin layer of fluid, known as mucosal lubrication. This fluid reduces friction between tissues as they move. Without this lubrication, the repeated motion of the vocal folds could cause irritation or damage. The fluid layer also contributes to the smoothness of the vibration. By allowing the tissues to glide over one another, it helps maintain a consistent oscillation. This microscopic lubrication system is essential for producing stable vocal sounds. Airflow itself behaves in complex ways as it passes through the vocal tract. When air accelerates between the vocal folds, it creates small changes in pressure that influence how the tissues move. These airflow dynamics are described by physical principles similar to those studied in fluid mechanics. The pressure differences that arise during airflow help sustain the vibration of the vocal folds. When the folds come together, airflow temporarily decreases. As the pressure builds, it pushes the folds apart again, restarting the cycle. This repeated opening and closing occurs many times each second. In a typical domestic cat, the oscillation frequency often falls between 25 and 30 vibrations per second. Although the movement is too fast to see with the naked eye, specialized high-speed cameras have captured these motions in scientific studies. Within the tissues of the vocal folds are tiny muscle fibers that influence tension and positioning. These muscles do not necessarily drive each individual vibration, but they adjust the conditions under which vibration occurs. By changing tension slightly, the cat can influence the depth or softness of the purr. The connective tissue pads found in feline vocal folds contain dense networks of collagen fibers. These fibers add mass to the vibrating structures. Greater mass allows the tissue to vibrate at lower frequencies than would otherwise be possible. This microscopic property explains how a relatively small animal can produce a deep, rumbling sound. The mass and elasticity of the vocal folds together determine the frequency of the vibration. As the tissues oscillate, mechanical energy spreads through surrounding structures. Vibrations pass into nearby cartilage and muscle layers. From there, the vibration continues outward into the chest cavity and surrounding bones. At the microscopic level, this vibration involves the transfer of energy through molecular interactions within tissues. Cells and fibers transmit mechanical motion through tiny structural connections. These connections allow the purring vibration to travel throughout the body. Within the lungs, tiny air sacs known as alveoli participate indirectly in the purring process. These microscopic sacs exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide with the bloodstream. The airflow generated during breathing moves through these structures before reaching the larynx. Although the alveoli do not produce sound themselves, they influence the airflow that powers the purr. Efficient gas exchange allows breathing to remain steady and relaxed. Blood circulation also plays a role at the microscopic level. Oxygen carried in the bloodstream fuels the muscles that control breathing and vocal structures. Without this steady oxygen supply, the muscles supporting respiration could not maintain stable airflow. Within the nervous system, tiny electrical signals travel along nerve fibers to coordinate breathing and muscle activity. These signals originate in regions of the brain that regulate respiratory rhythm. The nervous system ensures that breathing remains synchronized with the body's needs. Microscopic sensory receptors in the throat help detect changes in airflow and tissue position. These receptors send information back to the brain about the state of the vocal tract. This feedback helps maintain stable breathing patterns. Within muscle fibers, energy is produced through cellular processes involving molecules such as ATP. These molecules power the contractions that move the diaphragm during breathing. Each microscopic contraction contributes to the airflow that sustains the purr. The diaphragm itself is composed of layers of muscle fibers arranged in complex patterns. When these fibers contract, the diaphragm moves downward, drawing air into the lungs. When they relax, air flows outward again. This rhythmic motion forms the mechanical foundation of breathing. Because purring occurs during both inhalation and exhalation, the diaphragm's motion supports the vibration continuously. The airflow produced during breathing interacts with the vocal folds during both phases of the cycle. At the level of individual cells, tissues within the vocal folds respond to repeated vibration by maintaining flexible structural proteins. Cells continually repair and replace components of connective tissue. This renewal helps preserve the mechanical properties required for purring. Within connective tissue, microscopic fibers align in patterns that support vibration. These fibers distribute mechanical forces across the tissue. This distribution prevents localized stress that could damage the vocal folds. In addition to collagen and elastin, other molecular structures contribute to tissue resilience. Protoglycans and glycoproteins help maintain hydration within connective tissue. Hydration keeps the tissues flexible and capable of smooth oscillation. Microscopic blood vessels within the vocal folds deliver nutrients to these tissues. These vessels form dense networks that sustain cellular activity. Healthy circulation ensures that the tissues remain responsive and elastic. The vibration of purring also creates microscopic mechanical waves within surrounding tissues. These waves travel through muscles and bones. Even though the movement is extremely small, it can still be detected by touch. At the smallest scale, purring reflects the interaction of physics, biology, and cellular structure. Airflow dynamics, tissue elasticity, and molecular organization all contribute to the final sound. The result of these microscopic processes is the gentle vibration we recognize as a cat's purr. What seems like a simple sound is actually the product of countless tiny interactions happening within the body. Scientists began studying the sound of purring in a systematic way once recording technology became advanced enough to capture subtle vibrations. Early researchers used simple microphones and audio recorders to document the sound patterns produced by domestic cats. These recordings allowed scientists to analyze the rhythm and frequency of purring in controlled environments. By studying these patterns, researchers began to understand that purring occupies a very low range of sound frequencies compared with most animal vocalizations. Modern studies often use digital audio analysis to examine purring in greater detail. Sensitive microphones record the sound, and computer software converts the audio into visual waveforms. These waveforms reveal how the vibration changes over time. Scientists can measure the exact frequency and amplitude of the purr using these visual representations. One important method used to study purring involves spectrogram analysis. A spectrogram displays how different frequencies appear within a sound signal across time. When a cat purrs, the spectrogram shows strong energy in the low-frequency range. This confirms that the sound is dominated by deep vibrations rather than sharp tones. High-speed cameras have also been used to observe the physical motion of the vocal folds during vocalization. These cameras can record thousands of frames per second, capturing movements too fast for the human eye to see. Using this technology, researchers have been able to observe how tissues within the larynx oscillate as air moves through the throat. In some experiments, scientists examined isolated cat larynges in laboratory conditions. By passing air through the removed larynx, researchers could observe how the tissues vibrated without direct input from the brain. These studies help demonstrate that the structure of the larynx itself plays a major role in producing the purr. To understand how purring interacts with breathing, scientists sometimes monitor respiratory patterns while a cat purrs. Small sensors measure airflow entering and leaving the lungs. These measurements confirm that purring occurs during both inhalation and exhalation, making it one of the few vocalizations that spans the entire breathing cycle. Another technique used in purring research involves vibration sensors placed on the cat's body. These sensors detect how the vibration spreads through the chest and surrounding tissues. The results show that purring creates measurable mechanical vibrations throughout the cat's body. Researchers also study how humans perceive purring. In these experiments, volunteers listen to recorded purring sounds under controlled conditions. Participants may be asked to rate how calming or pleasant the sounds feel. Many people consistently describe purring as soothing or relaxing. This perception appears to be linked partly to the steady rhythm and low frequency of the sound. Scientists sometimes compare purring with other natural sounds that humans find relaxing. In behavioral studies, researchers observe cats in different social situations to determine when purring occurs. These observations often take place in homes, veterinary clinics, or controlled laboratory environments. By documenting when and where cats purr, scientists can identify patterns related to emotional states and interactions. One important area of research focuses on the solicitation purr. This particular type of purring often occurs when a cat is asking for food or attention. Scientists record these sounds and analyze their acoustic structure. Analysis has shown that the solicitation purr includes a higher frequency element layered on top of the usual low vibration. This higher sound resembles the frequency range of a human infant's cry. Researchers believe this acoustic feature may trigger a stronger response from humans. Because humans are biologically sensitive to infant-like sounds, the signal may be especially difficult to ignore. This finding suggests that cats may have adapted certain vocal behaviors to communicate effectively with people. Another research approach involves measuring how purring affects nearby surfaces. Sensitive equipment can detect vibrations transmitted through objects such as furniture or bedding. These measurements confirm that purring produces mechanical waves that travel through solid materials. Scientists have also used accelerometers to detect the tiny movements produced by purring vibrations. Accelerometers measure changes in motion and can detect extremely small mechanical shifts. When attached to a cat's body, these sensors reveal how the vibration spreads through different tissues. Some research explores the potential biological effects of purring frequencies. Because the sound falls within a range associated with certain mechanical stimulation therapies, scientists have investigated whether the vibration could influence tissue activity. Although evidence remains limited, the idea has generated ongoing interest. To study this possibility, researchers sometimes compare purring frequencies with frequencies used in physical therapy devices. These devices produce controlled vibrations intended to stimulate bones or muscles. The overlap between these ranges has led scientists to explore possible connections. Veterinary researchers also examine how purring affects clinical procedures. Because the vibration can interfere with stethoscope readings, studies have looked at ways to distinguish heart sounds from purring. These investigations help improve diagnostic accuracy during examinations. In some cases, veterinarians temporarily interrupt purring by gently placing a finger under the cat's chin or by turning on running water. These techniques distract the cat briefly, allowing clearer heart and lung sounds to be heard. Researchers studying animal communication often analyze purring alongside other feline vocalizations. Meows, growls, chirps, and trills each serve different functions. By comparing these sounds, scientists can better understand how cats use vocal signals in various contexts. Audio libraries containing thousands of cat vocalizations have been created for research purposes. These databases allow scientists to compare purring across different cats and situations. Such collections help identify patterns that might not be obvious in small samples. Some studies involve long-term observation of cats in home environments. Cameras and audio recorders capture daily behavior over extended periods. This approach helps researchers understand how often cats purr and in what situations. Long-term recordings reveal that purring can occur during many everyday activities. Cats may purr while resting, interacting with humans, or grooming themselves. These observations highlight the versatility of the behavior. Scientists sometimes combine physiological measurements with behavioral observations. For example, they may monitor heart rate while a cat is purring. Changes in heart rate can provide clues about the animal's emotional state. In some experiments, brain activity has been studied indirectly through neurological monitoring. These studies explore how the brain regulates breathing and vocalization. Understanding these neural processes helps clarify how purring is initiated and maintained. Research into purring continues to evolve as new technologies become available. Advanced imaging tools and digital analysis methods allow scientists to study the behavior in greater detail than ever before. Each new method adds another piece to the puzzle of how and why cats purr. Although much has been learned, many aspects of purring remain mysterious. Scientists continue to explore the mechanisms behind this familiar sound. The gentle rumble heard from a resting cat therefore remains both a common household experience and an active subject of scientific investigation. Within the body of a cat, purring is closely connected to many biological and physiological systems that help regulate the animal's internal balance. The act of purring begins with breathing, which is controlled by networks of nerves and muscles that maintain the rhythm of respiration. As the cat inhales and exhales, airflow moves through the throat and across the vocal folds, creating the gentle vibration associated with purring. This connection between breathing and sound means that purring is deeply integrated into the cat's respiratory system. The respiratory system itself involves several organs working together. Air enters through the nose and mouth before traveling down the trachea and into the lungs. Inside the lungs, oxygen passes into the bloodstream through microscopic air sacs called alveoli. At the same time, carbon dioxide leaves the blood and is carried back out through exhalation. Because purring relies on steady breathing, the respiratory system must remain stable for the vibration to continue. When a cat is calm and comfortable, breathing tends to slow and become more regular. This steady airflow allows the purr to remain continuous during both inhalation and exhalation. The nervous system also plays an important role in controlling purring. Nerve signals originating in the brain regulate breathing patterns and coordinate the muscles that control the larynx. These signals ensure that airflow and muscle tension remain balanced. The brainstem, a region responsible for automatic bodily functions, contains centers that control breathing rhythm. These centers help maintain the steady cycle of inhalation and exhalation needed for purring. Because breathing is largely automatic, a cat can continue purring even while resting or sleeping. Sensory systems within the body also contribute to the experience of purring. Tiny receptors located in muscles and tissues detect movement and vibration. These receptors send signals to the brain about the physical state of the body. When a cat purrs, the vibration travels through the chest, neck, and surrounding muscles. These mechanical waves can stimulate sensory receptors along their path. The brain receives this information and integrates it with other signals related to posture and balance. The cardiovascular system interacts with purring as well. The heart pumps oxygen-rich blood through the body, supplying muscles and tissues with the energy needed for normal function. Stable circulation helps maintain the conditions required for relaxed breathing. When a cat is calm, heart rate often slows slightly, and blood pressure stabilizes. These physiological changes create an environment that supports steady respiration and purring. Because of this relationship, purring frequently appears when a cat is resting or feeling secure. The endocrine system, which releases hormones into the bloodstream, may also influence purring behavior. Hormones associated with relaxation and bonding can affect how animals respond to social interactions. For example, gentle physical contact between animals can stimulate the release of hormones that promote calm behavior. These hormonal responses may help explain why cats often purr during friendly interactions with humans or other animals. The digestive system sometimes interacts with purring as well. After eating, many cats settle into a relaxed state while digestion begins. During this period, breathing and heart rate may become more stable. The relaxed physiological state that follows feeding can create favorable conditions for purring. This is one reason cats are often heard purring after finishing a meal. Muscles throughout the body also respond to the vibration produced during purring. Although the vibration is gentle, it travels through muscles and connective tissues. These mechanical waves can create subtle stimulation within the body. Some researchers believe that repeated low-frequency vibrations may influence muscle relaxation. The rhythmic motion may encourage muscles to release tension gradually. This effect may contribute to the calm posture often seen in a purring cat. The skeletal system may also interact with purring vibrations. Bones can transmit low-frequency mechanical waves efficiently. As the vibration spreads through the body, it may travel through the ribcage and spine. This transmission allows the vibration to reach many areas of the body simultaneously. The entire skeleton becomes part of the pathway through which the purring vibration travels. Skin and fur also play a role in how purring is perceived. The outer layers of the body help transmit vibration to the surrounding environment. When a person touches a purring cat, the vibration travels through the fur and skin into the person's hand. This tactile experience helps humans detect the purr even when the sound is very quiet. The sensation of vibration through touch is an important part of how people experience purring. The sensory system of the cat itself also responds to this vibration. Mechanoreceptors in the skin detect pressure and movement. These receptors can sense the mechanical waves produced during purring. By sending signals to the brain, these receptors help the cat remain aware of its own body movements. This internal feedback contributes to the coordination of posture and breathing. The vestibular system, located within the inner ear, helps maintain balance and orientation. Although primarily associated with movement, this system also responds to vibrations transmitted through the body. The gentle vibration of purring may interact subtly with these balance systems. In addition to internal sensing, cats possess extremely sensitive hearing. Their auditory system can detect a wide range of frequencies, including the low vibrations of their own purr. This means the cat hears and feels the sound simultaneously. The auditory cortex in the brain processes these signals and integrates them with other sensory inputs. The result is a complex internal experience combining sound, vibration, and bodily awareness. Some researchers suggest that this combination of sensory feedback may contribute to the calming effect of purring. The repetitive rhythm of the vibration may help stabilize neural activity associated with relaxation. While more research is needed, the possibility illustrates how multiple physiological systems may interact during purring. The immune system may also benefit indirectly from relaxed physiological states. When animals experience reduced stress, immune function can operate more efficiently. Because purring often appears during calm conditions, it may accompany states that support overall health. Although the precise biological effects of purring remain under investigation, the behavior clearly involves many interconnected systems within the body. Breathing, circulation, sensory perception, and muscle activity all contribute to the experience. The gentle vibration produced by a purring cat therefore represents more than a simple sound. It reflects the coordinated activity of numerous biological systems working together in harmony. Over the course of a cat's life, purring often becomes closely associated with long periods of rest and quiet observation. Domestic cats spend many hours each day resting, and during these calm intervals, the familiar vibration may appear repeatedly. Because the sound can continue with very little energy, it easily accompanies the slow rhythms of a resting animal. Young kittens begin to develop purring very early in life, often within the first days after birth. At this stage, their senses are still developing, and they rely heavily on touch and sound to remain connected with their mother. The vibration of purring provides a gentle signal that the kitten is present and active within the nest. As kittens grow, the contexts in which they purr gradually expand. What begins as a communication signal during nursing may later appear during play, grooming, and social interaction. Over time, the behavior becomes woven into many aspects of the cat's daily routine. During adolescence and adulthood, purring often accompanies quiet moments of companionship with humans. Cats resting beside their owners may begin to purr softly while being stroked or while lying still nearby. These repeated experiences reinforce the association between purring and safe, familiar environments. Cats are creatures of habit, and their daily routines tend to follow consistent patterns. Feeding times, sleeping places, and periods of activity often occur at predictable moments each day. Purring can become integrated into these routines, appearing during the same types of quiet activities. For example, some cats purr regularly when settling into a favorite sleeping location. The familiarity of the place and the expectation of rest may trigger the behavior. Over months and years, the purr becomes linked to that location and moment of relaxation. Long-term relationships with humans can also influence how often a cat purrs. Cats that have lived with the same owner for many years may develop stable patterns of communication. The purr becomes one of several signals used during everyday interaction. Because the sound is gentle and repetitive, it fits naturally into slow, calm activities. A cat, lying beside a person reading or working quietly, may purr for extended periods. These long stretches of quiet companionship highlight how the behavior unfolds over time, rather than in brief bursts. Some cats develop individual habits related to purring. One cat may purr frequently when sitting on a particular chair, while another may purr most often during grooming. These patterns reflect the cat's personal experiences and environment. Environmental changes can also influence purring behavior gradually. Moving to a new home or adjusting to new animals may temporarily alter how often a cat purrs. As the animal becomes familiar with the new surroundings, the sound may return to its previous patterns. Age may influence purring as well. Older cats often spend more time resting, and the increased quiet time may provide more opportunities for purring. However, the overall pattern varies from one individual to another. The long-term health of the cat can also affect the behavior. Cats recovering from illness or injury may purr more frequently during periods of rest. This has led some researchers to speculate that purring may play a role in coping or recovery. Seasonal changes can subtly influence daily rhythms in animals. Variations in daylight, temperature, and activity levels may shift the timing of rest and activity. Because purring often accompanies rest, these seasonal changes may indirectly influence when the sound occurs. Cats that live indoors often develop particularly stable daily routines. Regular feeding times and consistent environments create predictable cycles of activity and rest. Within these cycles, purring may appear repeatedly during the same types of quiet moments. Over long periods, the behavior becomes a familiar part of the household environment. Owners may come to expect the soft vibration during certain activities, such as evening relaxation. In this way, purring becomes woven into the daily rhythm of life shared between humans and cats. The gradual nature of these patterns highlights the slow timescale over which behavior develops. Rather than changing dramatically from day to day, purring habits evolve gently over months and years. This slow development reflects the stability of the environments in which many domestic cats live. Observation over long periods has shown that cats often maintain consistent sleeping locations. Favorite resting spots may remain unchanged for years. Purring may become strongly associated with these specific places. When a cat returns to a familiar resting spot, the behavior may begin almost automatically. The sound becomes part of the ritual of settling down. Because purring requires little physical effort, it can accompany extended periods of stillness. A cat, lying quietly beside its owner, may purr intermittently throughout the evening. The vibration may fade and return as the cat drifts between rest and light sleep. Cats also adapt their purring patterns to the presence of familiar individuals. A cat may purr more readily around people it trusts and less frequently around strangers. These long-term relationships shape the emotional context in which the sound occurs. In multi-cat households, purring behavior can also evolve gradually. Cats that become accustomed to each other may begin to rest near one another. Over time, purring may accompany these shared resting periods. The slow pace of behavioral change reflects the cautious nature of feline social interactions. Cats typically adjust to new companions gradually rather than immediately. Because purring is such a quiet signal, it fits naturally into these slow social adjustments. The sound can reinforce calm interaction without drawing attention or triggering defensive responses. Over the span of many years, a cat's purring may become one of the most familiar sounds within a household. Owners often learn to recognize the unique tone and rhythm of their own cat's purr. These subtle differences give each animal its own acoustic signature. The enduring presence of purring across a cat's life highlights how deeply the behavior is embedded in feline biology. From early kittenhood to old age, the gentle vibration accompanies many of the quietest moments of a cat's daily life. As evening settles into quiet and the world around a cat slows down, purring often becomes part of the stillness. The soft vibration does not demand attention or announce itself loudly. Instead, it blends gently into the surrounding silence. In many homes, the sound appears during the calmest hours, when lights are dim and movement has faded into the background. A cat resting peacefully may begin to purr, almost without movement. The body remains relaxed, breathing slow and steady, while the vibration moves quietly through the chest and throat. In these moments, the purr feels less like a signal and more like a natural rhythm within the animal itself. Because purring is so closely connected to breathing, it can accompany the slow, steady patterns that appear during rest. The cat's body settles into a comfortable posture, muscles loose and still. Air moves in and out with a gentle rhythm, and the vibration follows that same pattern. Sometimes the purr fades gradually as the cat drifts deeper into sleep. The breathing becomes softer, and the vibration slows before disappearing entirely. After a period of rest, the purr may return again as the cat shifts slightly or awakens. These quiet cycles often pass unnoticed. A cat may purr briefly, pause, and then resume again later without any clear change in its surroundings. The sound flows in and out of the silence like a slow tide. In many households, people become familiar with this quiet rhythm over time. The gentle rumble of a resting cat may appear beside a chair, at the foot of a bed, or on a warm blanket. Without drawing attention, the sound becomes part of the background of daily life. The softness of purring is one reason it feels so peaceful to hear. Unlike sharp or sudden sounds, the vibration remains steady and low. Its predictability allows it to blend easily into calm environments. Many people notice that a purring cat rarely interrupts stillness. Instead, the sound seems to settle into the quiet space around it. The vibration feels less like a noise and more like a gentle presence. The body of the cat moves only slightly while purring. The chest rises and falls with each breath, and the vibration travels softly through fur and muscle. To someone resting nearby, the motion can sometimes be felt as much as heard. When a person touches a purring cat, the vibration passes through the animal's body into the hand. The sensation is subtle but steady. This quiet physical connection often reinforces the calm atmosphere of the moment. Cats themselves seem to experience the vibration as part of their own internal rhythm. The gentle oscillation travels through the chest, neck, and body. Within this stillness, the purr becomes part of the animal's state of rest. Over the years, many scientists have tried to understand every detail of this familiar sound. Studies have examined the anatomy of the throat, the airflow of breathing, and the microscopic structures that create the vibration. Yet even with all this knowledge, the experience of hearing a purr remains simple. It is a soft sound that often appears when the world grows quiet. A resting cat may lie beside a window where moonlight or streetlight falls across the room. The body remains relaxed, eyes half closed, breathing slow. Within that stillness, the faint vibration of purring may rise and fall gently. Sometimes the sound lasts only a few moments before fading. At other times, it continues quietly for much longer. There is rarely any urgency in it. The purr simply continues, while the cat remains comfortable and undisturbed. Many animals communicate through calls that carry across long distances. These sounds announce territory or signal alarm. Purring is very different. It belongs to the quiet spaces where closeness matters more than distance. The vibration is meant for those nearby, for the small circle of space where a cat rests beside a companion. In that space, the sound needs no explanation. It is simply part of the calm that surrounds the resting animal. A warm room, a soft blanket, and a steady rhythm of breathing can create the conditions where purring appears naturally. Nothing dramatic happens when a cat purrs. There is no sudden change or grand signal. Instead, the sound continues gently, almost unnoticed. As the night grows deeper and the world becomes quieter still, the purr may fade once again. The cat settles fully into sleep, breathing soft and even. And the quiet returns, holding the room in a calm and peaceful stillness.